All right. So welcome to Seesaw for elementary educators. And if you're not an elementary educator, you can still use this. That's just what I titled it. It's completely usable from pre-K all the way up through 12th grade if you want it to be. But I find that it's more user-friendly for our littles than Google Classroom. Although these two things can talk together, and I'm going to make sure to show you all that because I know the district is saying that we have to use Google Classroom. They can talk together and they can integrate well together. So if we have a Google Classroom, don't let this feel like you can't use it because it's not Google. Also, I want to say that Seesaw is something that you can learn about right now, but when things get normal, hopefully sooner rather than later, and we get our kiddos back in our class, you're also going to be able to use this inside of your classroom. It works perfectly with the workshop model and with stations and all of those things that we are already doing. Once you get the grounding of this, you're going to find ways to really make an impact with your kiddos. I have no doubt about that. So, does everybody have a copy of the agenda, or can I see it? I don't think anybody came in after I shared. Okay. I think we're all available to see it. So a little bit about me. I think everybody knows me, but my name is Stella, and I'm the Instructional Technology Coordinator in Franklin County, which really means that I'm an ed tech coach, and I help teachers and principals and right now everybody with how to use the technology that we have and finding ways to implement that, especially for virtual learning. But don't forget about me whenever we go back to normal, even though we're probably going to have some tech withdrawals, I know, but don't forget about me. I am always here to help. So why Seesaw? Seesaw is something that I've already kind of done this part, but it's completely free. They do have a premium version. However, I don't recommend you spend your money on it because everything that you need is in the free version. And not only is the platform free, but inside of here, you're going to find thousands of free templates and free lessons already created that you can use with your students. You can modify a little bit if you want to make them be more appropriate for you and your class, but they're all free. And I don't know about you all, but whenever I see something that's free, I'm like, ooh, I want to know if it's good. And if it's good, I want to use it right now. So with that being said, there's actually two ways that you can use Seesaw, but today I'm going to be focusing on one-to-one devices. Normally, I would show you how to use this in a classroom with shared devices. However, with virtual learning, we're not sharing devices. Every student has a Chromebook, or they're using their personal devices at home or a personal phone. And yes, this can work well on an iPad or a cell phone, either iPhone or Android. You can use it on any of those. It's completely compatible with everything. I think it's even compatible with Amazon's Kindle, but I'm pretty sure, but I don't want to say that without saying it might not be because I don't have one of those and I haven't been able to play around with it. So for those of you who don't know me well, I do have a 5-year-old, and she's autistic, and she can do this. She loves, well, love is a very strong word. She hates doing anything that looks like homework, but she loves being able to drag and drop. So if you're worried that your kiddos can't do it, my Audrey can do it. And we're going to get the parents some support to help them with their kids be able to do this as well. So I figured the best way to play around with it to kind of get an idea about how this works is to give you all a code that you can play around with yourself. I am going to copy and paste this code into the chat box too, so you all can copy and paste it directly into Seesaw when you get there. But I'm going to show you how to get started, and I want to give you, copied and pasted the agenda again. I want to make sure to give you some time to explore. So give me a second. I want to show you how to get started. I posted the code inside of the chat window if you're a copy and paste type of person like myself. And I want to log in as Audrey. So let me get a student account pulled up here. Okay. So to get started, you're going to go to Seesaw. And if you want to open up a new tab on your computer, you're more than welcome to, or you can watch my screen for now, either way, whichever you prefer. And it's just seesaw.com. Now, for right now, we're going to all log in as students, and don't worry, it's not going to mess up your teacher account. You're still going to be able to be a teacher later on, but for right now, I just want you to see what it looks like from a student's point of view. So when you're here, you're going to click the log in button and click that login with Google, because if our students all have their sign-ins, they're like Audrey's is audrey.pollard@stu.franklin. Then they're all going to be able to log in with their Google accounts. Their parents will probably have to help them until we get them their Clever badges. And if you don't know what Clever badges are, your STC has a lot of great information about those. But they're just little badges that the students can hold up to the camera, and it's going to automatically log them in to where they don't have to type out their username and password every time. But if they're on a Chromebook and they get logged in the first time and they just press that sign in with Google button, they won't have to type it in every single time. Just like we don't have to type it in every single time. But when you click sign in, right now you want to click I'm a student. And we're going to skip all of this up here for now. And we're going to go to where the text code is. And I've got mine copied, so I'm just going to copy and paste. Your students could type it in, or they could copy and paste from Google Classroom or wherever you gave them this information. And you're going to click go. So here, you want to click continue with Google. And after, they just have to have that code one time. I want to make sure to point that out. They don't have to do all of these steps every time. So this first time is just getting their account connected with your Seesaw classroom. So I'm logging in as Audrey, and you all feel free to log in as yourselves if you want to. And now I am logged into the class. The next time, whenever I click log in, I'm going to click that log in with Google at the top instead of entering in a new text code, and I won't have to do that part every time. It's going to automatically log me in. Do I have any questions about that? I see some of you all are already in here. Great. I'm going to post the link.
Okay, Stella, this is Tammy. When I did the login, my screen looks like your screen, except it says Badger Kindergarten Teacher, because when I did this earlier in the summer, I evidently created a Badger Kindergarten class. So it won't let me log in as student.
So you can click your name up here at the top, where mine says Audrey. Click where yours says Tammy, and go to join class under that, and you can enter the code there. So once you get logged in, anything that the child has done is going to filter into what is called their journal. Think about that as kind of like their digital learning notebook if you want to, or whatever. And everything that they've done, everything that you've graded, everything that you've sent back to them will filter into here exactly like a scrapbook. So that is pretty neat. It just keeps a running record. However, how do we find what's been assigned to the students? You're going to click where it says activities, and you're going to see that I, the teacher, have posted 4 different assignments for my students in this class. So of course, you wouldn't want to have 4 at one time if you teach littles, because that would probably be a lot. But you can schedule them to show up later. That way they don't get in there and see 4 different things. But I wanted to give you a wide variety of things to see just for this. And you don't have to post that many things at one time. So you go to the Seesaw, you click sign in. You're going to then click on activities, and then you'll find all 4 of the different assignments. You can read the directions. Some directions are going to have this little play button where you can play the instructions. And I know that I don't have my Chrome tab picked, so my sound wouldn't come through, but that is an amazing feature. The teacher can read the instructions. So if you teach kindergarten and it's the beginning of the year, they can't read all of that. And sometimes their families are working too. So if we can give them anything to where they can be self-efficient, I'm all about it. Because I know I have a kindergartner, so but you can play that and it's going to play the instructions for them. You can read them, so it's your voice. They get to hear you. That's awesome within itself. So the students would read the directions or listen to them, and then they're going to click this Add Response button. Now, this is really cool because inside of here, they're going to have an opportunity to use so many different things. They can insert a text box. Insert. They can insert their voice. So, record. Start new recording. I don't want to use one I've already used. And I can start recording myself. Right now, it is recording my voice. I have a 5-minute limit. Whenever I get finished, I can click done, and it's going to be there wherever it pops up. Where did it go? You can take a picture. Don't judge me. It's early in the morning. So I'm going to click my photo, and I'm going to take a picture. And I can post that inside of there. That's also helpful if you want the kids to take a picture and hold up a piece of paper to show you that they worked a math problem out. It could be a piece of paper or a whiteboard or whatever. Also in that camera, you do have the opportunity to create a video. So your kids could hold up their paper and be talking about what they done. And it's going to start that recording and blah, 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 blah. There's my video. Whenever I get finished, I'm going to click done. And it's going to post that video directly inside of there for me too. I can annotate on this screen with all of these different options down here at the bottom. I can change the color of my pens and my highlighters. And then if I have multiple pages, they're just going to be right there. I can zoom in if I want to, or zoom out. I can go back and read the directions. And I know that you're probably thinking, if you teach kindergarten, like, whoa, those are a whole lot of options. Start off with something simple. Start off with type your name on the screen, or click the camera and take a picture of yourself. Anything like that, just to kind of get them used to these tools. Because if you get them used to them, then you're going to be able to make that stronger impact later on. So I know that those are a lot of options for our littles. I would start off with like maybe using the microphone and have them introduce themselves, or just taking a picture. Once the kid gets finished with the assignment, they're going to click this green check button. That will let you as a teacher know that they are done. And as a teacher, you'll get a notification saying, hey, Audrey has turned this assignment in, and you'll be able to go in and leave feedback for her. So that's how the Seesaw works as a student. I want to give you all a little bit of time to go in there and play around with that as a kid, just so you can have that experience. And then we're going to come back in about 5 minutes. I'm going to put up a timer. We'll come back in 5 minutes, and we'll talk about what we were able to see and what we're thinking. So before I turn you loose for 5 minutes, You all have any questions or anything for me? I don't see any in the chat box. If you're still typing, please continue. I'm going to go ahead and start. Oh, I didn't mean to start it right now. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer, and I will be back in 5 minutes to check in on you all. All right. So our 5-minute timer went off. So I want to just give you all a second to express what your thoughts are about Seesaw from a student's point of view. Do you think this could be something that you could use with your kids, or do you see anything or have any questions about any of the functions? And feel free to use that chat window or hop on your microphone. Not really hop on your microphone, that would probably hurt. But turn your microphone on and you can share out if you want to. I know some people are probably still typing, but please feel free to share your thoughts. I want to hear from you all because I taught middle school, so although I'm a parent, I want to know what you all think, what you're thinking. Do you all need more time to explore? Or are we good? Amy, you can, and I'll show you how to do that. Absolutely. But they'll have to sign in that first time with their password for sure. Like you could add their accounts automatically, but they would still have to sign in that first time. Awesome. All right. Good. I figured some of you all were still probably clicking around and playing with it. I just didn't want to rush anybody because this is why I set this one up for 2 hours, because I didn't want it to be rushed. Yes, absolutely. And Kristen, I think it's also great because as a teacher, you can model the correct way to pronounce things accurately and show them the correct mouth formation. I don't know if that's the correct terminology. Listen at me just coming up with these words, but you can show them the correct way to say the words with their mouth placement. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, Yeah, you can link Seesaw to your Google site, but they would have to click that sign in button. But yeah, especially with Google Classroom too, whenever you post something, you can share that link directly into Google Classroom as well. Yes, you can. You can still hear them speak. And I love that the app on the phone and the app on the iPads and everything work beautifully with this, especially if you did one of the activities that was asking you to draw. If they have a phone or an iPad, something that's touchscreen, it's going to be so awesome for them just to be able to use their little finger to be able to trace or to outline or to write with. Love it, love it. Awesome. Thank you all so much for your feedback there. And I'm going to review some of your all's posts here, if that's okay. If you don't want me to see yours, I promise I won't click on you. Well, Amy, unless it's you because you were the first one to pop up there. But if you did not join join the Seesaw Classroom, I highly advise that you do that because it's going to help you so much to see this as a student. I know right now we just got a few participants that's logged in there. So make sure that you get in there and play around with it as a student. It's just going to be really helpful for you to do that. So as a teacher, I'm going to be able to scroll through my list and see who has submitted things and be able to see their work. If I approve, Tara, is it okay if I approve yours here? Awesome. Thank you. If I approve that work, that means that I'm going to approve it. Oh, and I'll approve Audrey's. That's probably a good one to approve as well. That means that I've approved it, and they're going to be able to see that I've accepted that work. Now, if I send it back to them, it's going to require me to have that premium subscription to that, but you do get 60 free days. So instead of sending things back, I would just pretty much like send them a little message and say, hey, I want you to redo this, or just don't approve it and reach out to them some other way. I don't know. Like, if we have a lot of interest in it, I might be able to talk to central office and see if we could get a quote for the premium. But if we don't have a lot of interest in it, they typically tell me no. So if this is something that you think that you could use, let me know and I will try. I can't make any promises because they don't give me a budget, but I can try to talk to the people and get them to purchase this if it's something you think you could use. You can also delete someone's work if you want to do that. If they just completed it very sloppy, or they accidentally submitted it without meaning to, you can go in and delete that. So when you approve it, it's going to automatically go to that student's journal. Okay. So thank you all so much for the discussion on what you all thought about it from a student's point of view. And I really appreciate your interaction. So in a few seconds, we're going to talk about how to create your own Seesaw classroom. And then after that, we're going to go into how do you add assignments and how do you find those free assignments, and then how do you grade them and how do you communicate with families. So I know it's a lot of stuff, and if I go too fast, please feel free to slow me down. I grew up in auctions. My mom was an auctioneer. They made me get licensed to be an auctioneer when I was 18. And I know I talk really fast sometimes, so I'm trying not to. I get really excited though. Okay. Take a deep breath. Slow myself down. So in the top left-hand corner, if your name is over here, that means that you've signed in to the class. You can click where your name is and go down, and you should see where it says create new class. If you don't, then sign out by clicking this cogwheel and going down to sign out, and then signing back in as a teacher this time. So I want everybody to see that create new class. And if you could, if I paste the thumbs up into the chat window until Google can give us that feature, they need to release it. Can't be that hard to make a thumb. If you want to copy and paste that thumb, or you can press K or anything that you want to, just let me know that you're ready to create your own Seesaw class. So again, to do it, you click your name up there in the corner and go to where it says create new class, and let me know when you're ready. Does anybody have any questions or anything about how to create the class, or are we good? Like how to find the button. Do we need a little break or anything? Because I want to make sure that you all are understanding what we're doing next. I don't want to leave anybody in the dark. Okay. And Tammy, you've seen it from a student's point of view last time, so if you have any questions about that, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer. But I don't see any other questions about how to like get this create new class button, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue on. Not seeing any questions or hearing any feedback on that. So I clicked my name. I'm going to click create new class. And this right here is probably going to be your easiest and your best friend, because that means the students won't have to have a code to get into your Seesaw classroom ever. You know how at the top I posted that 8-letter code that the students would have to type in and then press that login with Google? You're going to be able to import your students directly from Google Classroom. So with the Infinite Campus integration, whenever KDE trains each school member, like not member, but each of the schools in Franklin County are selecting one person to get trained in how to use Infinite Campus as it talks to Google Classroom. And I can't be that person because my Infinite Campus doesn't have a student roster or student gradebook in it. So I won't be able to do that feature. But your students are going to be automatically enrolled inside of your Google Classrooms for you. And if that feature isn't released before the beginning of school, then you can have them just enroll in Google Classroom like we've talked about in many of the PD sessions this summer. And you can click Import from Google Classroom. And what that's going to do is import every single child that's enrolled inside of that Google Classroom into your Seesaw class. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click this one because that one's got a lot of students in there. When you select the class, beside of that, it's going to ask you to select the grade that you teach. So I'm going to click and I'm going to select one of these grade levels. Now, if you are a split, a 1-2 split or whatever, it's okay to pick only one of your grades because that's not going to tie in to, oh, if I pick second grade, I'm only going to be able to select second grade stuff. That's not the case. It's going to recommend a lot of second grade stuff for you, but you can still find stuff from other grades to get in there. After you select that, you're going to click Import Classes. And you'll be able to see my little wheel is down here turning. And now I have a brand new a brand new Seesaw classroom that's been imported directly from my Google Classroom. And if I scroll down here underneath my journal, I'm going to see all of the students that are enrolled inside of my level 2 Google Classroom automatically inside of here. So this is not all of the people that's inside of my level 2. There's like 60 students, okay, teachers inside of there. They won't show up inside of your Seesaw roster until they press that login with Google. When they press that login with Google button on the Seesaw homepage and they sign in with their Google, they won't need a code, but then they'll be able to see your class. And since you're the only class that they'll be enrolled in, probably, I don't know of anybody that's used Seesaw in the past, so they could click that menu and they would find your class and they would just click on that and would be in there. Amy, there is a way to share the Google Classroom with more than one teacher. You just go to the People tab inside of Google Classroom, and beside of teacher, there's a plus button, and you can type in their email addresses. Y'all give me just 1 second. Audrey's running through the house here. Audrey, go back to the desk. Sorry, I typically go to my office to do things because I know this will happen, but she has kindergarten graduation today at noon, so I would have been rushed. And Amy, you're very welcome there. But you're going to have all of your classes right there. I'm going to go back to my level 2 that I just imported. Okay. Now, if you don't have Google Classroom, let's say that you teach ESL and you don't have a Google Classroom for whatever reason, that's okay. You can go to create class, and instead of saying import from Google Classroom, you can select the grade level that you teach and give your class a name. Let's just name this one. I don't know my dates. I think it's the 4th. I don't know. It's the 5th. Okay. So I'm going to give it a title. I'll click my green check mark, and it's going to create that class for me. And I will have to go in down here at the bottom to where it says plus students, and I can select whether I want the students to sign in with their Google accounts, or if I want them to not use their email addresses, which this gets into a whole new privacy level issue when we're talking about virtual learning. I don't recommend this one because it gives the students a list of names of kids in the classroom, and they just click on who they are, and that's how they log in. So I highly recommend always letting them use that sign in with Google. So I'm going to click yes there. And that's where you're going to get your code that we use to sign in at the beginning of this session. Note that it does change every 7 days just for privacy issues. So if you get a new kid 3 weeks down the road and you need to get them signed in to Seesaw, you'd have to go and click that plus button again, and the code will be different. I know that's kind of a pain. That's why I love the Google Classroom integration part. But you can automatically email students with instructions, and it types up a nice little email for you that you can copy and paste and send however you get links to students. So that's how you create the Seesaw Classroom itself. Do we have any questions about that? If I don't see any, I'll just continue on. All right. If you're still typing your question and you need more time to type, please continue to type, and I promise I'll get you an answer. Silence always makes me nervous. Oh, okay. So we do have a question is how do you delete a class? So let's pretend that today you're just doing this for fun and you're just doing it to learn and you want to delete one. You click where your name is and you find the class that you want to delete. And I'm going to pick, let's pick that one that I just created. So up here in the top corner, you're going to see a little wrench. You'll click that wrench. And this is also where you can go in and change your grade level if you want to. You can add co-teachers there. So if you have a content partner that you want to see your class, you can click Manage Teachers and add them that way. And we'll talk more about the rest of this at the end. But you can archive that class, and it just deletes it off of your little list over there. So that was the wrench, and then at the main bottom, you have archive class, and it will get that off of there for you. Okay. So now that we have our class created, we want to explore how to get activities and assignments to our students. So to do that, you're going to click this big green add button, and students don't have activity or access to the activity library. So you don't have to worry about them clicking on that and finding random assignments from everybody. So you're going to click the add, and you want to go down to where it says assign activity and click that. And it's going to take you to what they call the activity library. Now, automatically always goes to the My Library part, and you'll see that I have a lot of stuff in there already. If yours is blank or empty, that's perfectly fine. But click on Community. And this is where you can go and you can find all of the free resources inside of Seesaw. So remember how earlier I said if you pick a grade, you're not really locked into it. You can click the down arrow and pick which grade you want to search for. You can filter it by subject. So if you want it to be math, you can click that. And then you can search for a specific standard if you want to, or you can search for just the keyword. So let's say that I do want to look up number bonds. Okay, so when I look up number bonds, I can find all of these resources for my grade level. I'm going to find one that I think looks appealing. I'm going to click on it. It's going to give me a chance to explore this. If I like it, I can click on this too, and it's going to give me a chance to explore it like as a student, what it looks like from a student's point of view. But keep in mind, they're going to have their tools over here and their little pencils down here. That way they can go in and they can put their 4 here and their 3. It's so cute with the little penguins. If I like that, then I can go ahead and I can click Assign and pick which class that I want it to be. If I want to edit it, I'm going to click these 3 dots right here. Oh, sorry, not those 3 dots. Hang on. This one might not be editable because some of them they make it not be editable. But if you can edit, it's got a little edit button down here, and we'll find one that has that in just a moment. But if you're happy with that, you're going to click Assign. You're going to pick the class that you want it to be assigned to, and you're going to assign to one class. So students will do exactly like what you all did whenever you had that code that you typed in. They would click on activities, and now they'd be able to see that assignment in there and do exactly what you all did with your assignments when you were playing around. Okay, so you can add as many as you want to. And if it's something that you're like, oh, I really like that, but I don't want to assign it right now, you can always click these little heart buttons to bookmark those into your library. It won't show up on your class stream, but whenever you go to My Library, it will show up there. And after you have a few things inside of there, you do have the ability to search just your library. And you're going to be able to search with that same criteria that we use for the community. So that's how you can find those pre-made activities, and there's literally thousands of free things in there, and that's what really makes me so excited about Seesaw. So before I move into how to create your own activities from scratch, do y'all have any questions for me so far? All right, I don't see any questions coming into, oh, how do you delete an activity that's been assigned? Okay, so if you have an activity that's been assigned and you want to delete it, you've accidentally assigned it instead of saving it to your library or whatever, you want to go back to your classroom. So you can click here and go back to your class. You want to go to where it says activities and find that activity that you just shared. You want to click these 3 dots here, and you can delete that activity just like that. Now, if you want to see this as a student, you can. So if you want to, hang on, my computer's going slow. I'm making it think too hard. You can go in to where it says add response here, and you can pick like the sample student if you want to, because every class that you create is going to have a sample student. And then you can make a screencastify or a little tutorial on how to do this. So you can say, okay, so this is how you work this Seesaw assignment. You're going to go in and select your pencil down here at the bottom and write in your answer. For most young kids, if they have the Chromebooks, it might be easier if they use the text box because they can move their text around and they can type in the numbers. So however you think it's going to be easier for them to get their answers to you would be appropriate for that. And you can press the save button if you want, and just let you know as a teacher that, hey, sample students, turn that in. But you always have the ability to go in and model it from a teacher's perspective on maybe a Google Meet call, or like I said before, a Screencastify call. Thank you so much for that question, Tammy. That was a good one. All right, so when you go back to the activity library, up here in the top left-hand corner, you have this Create New Activity button. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to give me the ability to go in and give my activity a name. Probably want it to be a little bit more specific than that, so you can find it later on. You can type your instructions here. You can add voice instructions so they hear your own voice. Hi, today's activity is this. Make sure that you get it turned in to me before tomorrow. You press your pause button and it's going to process, and it will upload that directly into the activity. You can add multimedia instructions or examples, so that would be a great place for you. Like if you click there, you can upload a video, like if it's a Screencastify video. It's going to be saved inside of your Google Drive or on your Chromebook or your desktop, however you're getting your videos linked. So you can click there and you'll be able to upload things directly from your computer or your Google Drive. But remember that part, this part right here, the multimedia instructions or example, is for you to give them an example, a modeling of that. If it's a template that you want the students to edit, like that penguin one that we just saw, you're going to scroll down to where it says add template for student responses, and it's going to automatically make that copy for every single kid in your class. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click upload. If it's something saved on your computer, you can click select from computer and pick it from there. So let's just pretend this is a PDF. I can click open, and the students will be able to annotate and do all of those tools directly on top of that PDF or picture or whatever it is that I have. If I want to select something from Google Drive, I'm going to click right here. It could be a PDF. It could be anything. It could be Google Slides or whatever. So I'm going to select it, and let's pretend that it's this one that I want. I'm going to upload that. It'll take a little bit longer because it's slides instead of just one picture. And then when it uploads, I will click this green check mark. Oh, it's too big. Okay, so make sure that it's within the correct sizes. Whenever I get it checked here, that means that that assignment is done, and I can click the green check mark again, and it will be ready for me to save. So when I press the save button, it automatically saves that to my library. If I want to assign it, I'm going to be able to see that inside of my library and click that green assign button like we saw in the community library just a few minutes ago, right there. And I'll be able to pick the class that I wanted to go to. All right, so that's how you can find activities and create your own. In a bit, we're going to talk about how to grade these activities and give feedback. And we'll also talk about how to share these inside of Google Classroom and to families. I want to pause for just a second to see if you all have any questions. Would now be a good time for you all to get a break to play around with the activity library? Or are you wanting to continue forward? Yeah. I am recording it. I wish, y'all let me know because I hate like sitting here in silence. And some of you all haven't talked any at all. So I want to hear from you. How are you feeling? Do you need to take a break to play around with it? Or do you want, okay, good. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I know it's hard whenever I don't hear from people because I don't know if you all are confused or what's going on. So thank you so much for that feedback. Okay, so we talked about how to assign things from the library. I'm going to go back to my class by clicking up here in the corner. Maybe. There we go. And when things get assigned to me, or whenever my class has things that I need to see, I'm going to go back to today's. Like I showed you before, I'm going to be able to go in there and see who has submitted things to me and who has not. Okay. So this will be great for those learning practices to where you could just go in and see if they're getting that math concept, if they're able to read this out loud. Think about how impactful it would be for a kid to get the same reading passage day after day after day for a certain number of weeks, and they be able to go back to their journal and reflect upon how much their reading has grown over that time period. All right. So as a teacher, I can go to activities and I will be able to see like all of the people that have responded to those. So I can see that I have 1 response, 2 waiting for approval, and 5 not responded. And down here, I can see all of those. So if I click on any of these assignments, I'll be able to scroll down underneath that and see the students that I have enrolled in that class and be able to approve all. Just like if it's a quick, I want to just glance and see if you did it for participation, because I know that we have a lot of that to consider for distance learning. That's a great way to see just that. So click approve all, and it will automatically approve all of the people that have submitted that. Okay. If I want to click on one individual's assignment, I can click on just that one individual and I can scroll down. I can lock it. I can give it a comment, and comments are how you can give that feedback. You have a little microphone here that you can click, and it's going to leave a voice comment because with elementary kids, like they start off and sometimes they can't read very well, but by the end of that year, you're going to have them being reading rock stars. So you're giving them their voice feedback. You can click pause button there, and it will process that, and you can send that to the kid so they can go back and listen to that. Okay. I'm just going to click X because it's going super slow for me right now. My internet's having issues. I can click this button here and go to the next post so I don't have to close out every time, but I can just keep going back and back and back. So that's how you can see who has submitted the work and how to give them feedback. Do you all have any questions about that? Are we pretty good? I'm just going to keep going unless you all stop me, because I don't want to waste your all's time with void silence. But if you have any questions, please stop me. Let me know. It makes it so much easier for me if I have some interactions to go along to, or else it feels like I'm just talking to my computer by myself. So if you need anything, please stop me. Okay. So after you've done that, you can have this inbox set up to where you can send student announcements or family announcements. I want to share with you how to get your families enrolled into this, because they will get all kinds of updates. You can send them work samples from their child. So if you click the plus families here, you can turn on family access to the class. And you can go in and you can enter in a mobile number. The mobile number will text them. You can enter in an email address for each individual child. And I know if you teach exploratories, that could be a whole lot of work. So you can also print invites and print them in whichever language that you need them to be. And it prints a specific invitation specifically for each child. It's not just a generic, like, hey, here's the class code, pick which kid you have. It's going to have each individual kid's name and a generic, or not a generic, an individual QR code that parents can scan in order to get those updates. You also have the share and invite link. And that one's a little bit nerve-wracking to me. I like the printed ones because that way you get to pick which family gets that code. Okay. All right. So you can send messages to your students or to the families. If you have a student that you want to showcase their work to the whole class, you can post student work by clicking that green add button, and you can upload any of those types of examples there if you wanted to share that out with the class. You can also click that green add button to send an announcement to your whole class. So if you were wanting to do a morning meeting and you wanted to share a link to the Google Meet session, you could click that send announcement and do it that way. Okay, so lastly, just a couple more things, and then I guess I'm going to give you all some time to go and play around and just use the tool at your own pace to make it be more accessible to you. If you click the wrench, we kind of talked about this a little earlier. That's where you can go in. Notice your plus families and plus students are the same things as these buttons here. But you can go in and you can change the name of your class. If you want to just use the class that you're creating today later on, you could change the name. You can change the grade level. You can add new teachers. You can change the color of your class. Make it coral. So pretty. You can change the class icon. Right now mine says A2 because it says August 20. So I'm going to change that icon and make it be something prettier, like maybe this rainbow. I can go in and I can change it to the student sign-in mode and make it like if I have during the virtual teaching, we're doing email and Google because all of our kids have a Chromebook or a device at home. That works perfect. But if we go back to school and we're having to share Chromebook carts again, you could do that shared devices or one-to-one devices. So remember that this shared devices, they're going to get a list of student names to pick from, and every time they're going to have that class code every single time that they log in, and they'll pick from a list of names their name. So I highly recommend either of these two. If you have a student leave your school or your roster, you can always go in and find that student and click their name. And you can remove that student from class. If you have a kid that gets adopted or maybe their last name changes for whatever reason, you could always just go in and change their last names there too if you wanted to do that. And you can, that's also how you can go in and delete family members. So if you have anything like that to worry about, you could go in there and click that and delete their family member out. So they can't get updates from that student anymore. You can turn on student likes and comments. The home learning student codes are pretty nice. If you click those, you can print the codes like for your open houses that are coming up. If you wanted to go ahead and do that, you could print that class set and they'll be able to go in there and see all of that if that makes it easier for the families you think that you might have. And there's all kinds of different options inside of there too. I don't want to go through and read all of them because we're all adults and we can all read those if we wanted to. But down here at the bottom, you can always change anything that you want. The only thing that I do want to point out is that main bottom one where it says video quality. And I recommend playing with that. If you leave it with high quality, that means that our students with poor internet connections are going to have a hard time buffering the videos that you share inside of your Seesaw classroom. So you can turn it down to the slowest upload. It's going to be blurry. You got a medium upload and you got the high quality. It automatically sends it to that high quality. I recommend posting a short video just to see what it looks like with each of those to see if that's something that you can live with your students. All right. So I guess we could have done this one in an hour. Last time I had a lot of people in here and we had a lot of questions and discussions going on. And I don't want to leave anything unanswered, but that's pretty much everything there is to Seesaw. So do you all have any questions for me or anything? Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
I'm just going to unclick my mic so I don't have to type a book here. I was playing around with trying to create my own assignment, and I was going to try to attach an item as a photo. But once I do that, it's really not giving me an option to, I guess, manipulate that photo and make it look, better, like cropping it out, zooming in. Is there a particular way you do that when you're creating assignment, or is it better just to scan it in and upload it as a PDF rather than take a picture?
Let's see. That's a really good question. And it's one that I haven't tried to do before, so I'm going to play around with it right alongside with you there. It might be easier if you edit that picture wherever you have it first and then upload it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just going to it gives me the option to add a template for student responses, and so I've got this little worksheet here that was in a pile of stuff, and I was going to take a photo of it because it gives you the option to take the photo, whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, something like that. I was going to take a picture of it. But then once I did that, it really didn't give me an option to like zoom in or crop it, or I was just trying to think of an easy way not to have to scan stuff in and then upload it.
Pretend that those blue marks aren't there. I feel like, let's see, this little plus button. So the plus button allows you to zoom in. That little magnifying lens there.
Okay.
And let's see. I feel like this button here should do something different than what it's doing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm like, I keep looking. One that I didn't point out that they're on shapes. This is kind of random and not related to your question at all, but under shapes you do have speech bubbles, which are always fun.
Okay, so there's a little finger down at the bottom I found. I did click the unlock but when you click on those, yeah, you see the little finger? You can actually, once you click that, you can move it around to where you want it.
Okay. I'll unlock to move.
Yeah.
But it don't let you really crop it.
No, I don't, not that I know of, not yet. I don't see.
You can rotate it though.
Yeah, you can rotate it. Okay. Well, I was just trying to think of a way that we could actually just, do it all in one and not have to
I
take it
know.
to school to scan it in and upload it as a PDF. I don't know, we can do that with our PDF cam on our app on our phone or whatever, but it's just one extra step. So I was trying to.
Yeah. And I just made a video this morning, and I know this is not anything new. It came out like back in March, to where you can use your Notes app on your phone to scan things and make them be PDFs. But my video is showing you like how to, after you scan it, get it uploaded to Google Drive. And then you can, whenever you're uploading that assignment, instead of taking a picture, you can click the upload from Drive button and it will be there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. That's probably what we'll have to do.
Yeah, I wish that would be easier. I don't know why they don't have a crop button. The crop button saves so much life. So before I let you all go, I'm going to post the sign-in sheets and everything too, but I wanted to share with you all something that I'm working on, and it's got Seesaw in it, so it's still on task. I sent out about 2 weeks ago now to the principals a digital learning toolkit for teachers. I don't know if all of you all got it. I don't know if every principal shared it with their staff. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me know and I'll share that with you. But yesterday I started working on something for families, because I know that they're going to need all of the resources that they can get. So I've went in and I've made videos for each of our each different thing that our district uses to teach that I could think of. And if there's something missing on there, please let me know. Like I've got one for Google Classroom and Google Meet and Infinite Campus and all of that. I'm going to have one for Seesaw. Notice that one's not clickable yet because I haven't made it just yet. I don't know how many teachers are going to use it, so I don't want to like spend tons of time on it if nobody's going to use it, because I've done that before and nobody's used it. And the families are like, I don't know what that is. So I don't want to confuse anybody on that. But I would love your all's feedback on that. If you all find time to take a look and see anything that's missing, let me know. I would love to know your all's opinions and feedback. So we have about 40 minutes left of this session. My goal is to give you about 30 minutes to play around with Seesaw. But I want, like, some of y'all haven't talked any at all, and I don't know if I'm leaving you in the dark or if you have any questions, or maybe your microphone is just not working or whatever. So I want before I let you all go, I posted this sign-in feedback. I'd love for you all just to hop into the chat box or hop on your microphone and let me know how you're feeling about Seesaw. So I'm going to type that too. Hop into. I'd love to know your all's feedback before I post that PD sign-in sheet. Yes, there's tons of stuff in there for preschool, and there's some stuff that I'm pretty sure might be like I don't know. It's so interactive. So what I was going to say, and I've lost my train of thought. It's accessible for all kids because Audrey and I have been using this for about 2 years now, and she loves it. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post the sign-in sheet. I do have one question that I would love to address, so I'm gonna be true to my word. I'm gonna post this sign-in sheet, and I put sing-in sheet. I always do that because I type too fast. So fill out that form. Make sure that you type your email address in correctly so I can get your PD credit sent over to CJ. So there's one question about making sure that you can integrate this with Google Classroom so you don't confuse the families. So when you get your assignment posted inside of Google Classroom, you go to that activity, you can click the 3 dots and you can get activity link. And then you can get the link and post that link directly into Classroom as an assignment. And that way, like if you're using your topics as dates, you can say, okay, today's date, whatever, click this link, and it's going to take the student directly to that assignment. They won't have to see all of Seesaw. It'll look just like this. Oops, wrong link. I didn't copy it. But it'll take them directly to that activity instead of to all of Seesaw, if that makes sense. Yep. And that's at the beginning where we talked about importing your Google Classroom. It connects the student's Google account directly to that student. So it'll take them direct, like if you get that activity link, this is what it's going to take them to. And if they're logged in as a student, it's going to show them their student activity. Awesome. All right. I will be sharing the video out by email with you all. It typically takes me a day or two to get those sent out because I like to upload them to YouTube and make sure the quality is good and add all of the resources that we talked about. But I will send the link to you all. So that's why I ask you all to sign in, not only just to get your PD hours, which are super important and super helpful, but also so I can email you the link to the videos. Awesome. All right. After you get signed in, we do still have like 40-ish minutes to play around. I'll always love to end my PD sessions with a chance for you all to play with what you just learned. So I'm going to be sitting in this Google Meet room until 11. If you want to just mute me and come back and ask questions whenever you need to, you can. Feel totally free to do that. If you're a person that's like, I'll just come back if I have a question, I'll be here till 11 and you can always email me. So I am going to go ahead and pause the recording and let you all have the rest of the time to work on creating your own Seesaw classrooms.